Okay, now this episode, I had the privilege to talk to my wife. We've been married for 25 years this New Year's. As you guys see, it's Christmas here in Norway. Well, it's all over the world. We have our Christmas tree up. And this is the 20th of December 2025.
It's the 21st of December.
Oh, is it 21st? Okay.
Yes, the 21st.
Yeah. And we're going to celebrate our 25th anniversary on New Year's Eve. And thank you for staying with me for 25 years. It hasn't always been easy.
No.
But today I would like to hear your story. Well, I know your story, but I would like the audience to hear the story because you've had quite a turbulent life. And but then Jesus came in and really did some amazing things in your life. So I don't know where you want to start. You grew up in Canada.
Well, I was born in England and my family immigrated to Canada when I was under 2 years of age. And then I became an immigrant, like a Canadian citizen, when I was 11 years old. But to me, I'm Canadian. Of course, I have family in England, but my culture, the way I behave, the way I talk is very Canadian. Yeah, I was raised in like a middle-class family. I had a brother who was 2 years older than me, and I would say we had a pretty normal Canadian, North American life.
You grew up in BC.
In British Columbia, in a city called Abbotsford, which is about an hour outside of Vancouver. And my parents were married, and my dad worked. My mom stayed home most of the time, and we went to church a little bit, like if it was Easter or Christmas, or if the neighbors or friends invited us. I went to some Christian camps growing up, but I was never brought up in a home with prayer and a Bible, and I guess you would call us like the normal, like
cultural Christians.
Yeah, cultural Christians. Well, I wouldn't even call us Christians. I mean, I didn't have a clue what that was when I was a kid. Like, I just was my parents' child. I did what they wanted. And then the disaster hit.
Well, before that disaster, you were kind of a straight A student. You were popular at school.
I was a model.
Model.
I was like in the top 10 children models in Vancouver. And I was a competitive dancer, and I was winning awards with my team, and
So life was good.
Yeah, it felt good.
Yeah.
I mean, me and my brother, we fought and stuff, but it was just a normal life, and I had it good. My family was well off. Well, they weren't rich; they were middle class, but to me as a child, I mean, I got what I wanted at Christmas, and my birthdays, and I had it good. We had a swimming pool in the backyard, and I don't know, life was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then disaster happened.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
I can feel I'm already emotional. I guess it's because it's Christmas. Well, I was on a modeling gig in Vancouver, and we got home that evening, and there were 2 policemen at our doorstep. And that evening, later on, I found out that my brother had been killed in a tragic accident with 3 other of his classmates on the way to a basketball tournament. And it was not just like a family tragedy, it was a community tragedy. And it just tore my life apart.
How old were you then?
I was 14. I had just had my 14th birthday, and he had just had his 16th birthday. Yeah. We're both January babies, and the accident was in February.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was devastating. In the beginning, it's just shock, denial, grief. I went back to school quickly, thinking that I could just suck it up and behave. And I don't know, everything just spiraled, and it spiraled fast. I didn't understand it or feel it. I just ran away from it.
Yeah.
And my mom seemed to not be able to cope with life. She seemed to, I don't know what it was, but she disappeared. Like, I don't know if she was in bed all the time or if she just sat in a chair all the time, but my mom stopped in a way. I mean, she existed, but there was no conversation or dinners or, yeah. And then my dad, he was always very much into working, but then after my brother died, he just never came home. And it put a lot of pressure on the marriage and me, and because I was into dancing, I wanted to stay amazing and strong, and I started drinking too much. I started drinking all the time. I started to mess around with boys older than me. It started slow and it just avalanched into like all of it, just drinking all the time. My grades dropped. I mean, I basically almost failed school. I always tell in my testimony that I was just lucky that I was popular, so I always got like a pretty okay boyfriend. But if I hadn't had a boyfriend, I think I would have just slept around because I just was looking for love in all the wrong places. I know that's a song, but that's my reality.
That's interesting. So you felt like, because you had boyfriend at the age of 14, 15,
Yeah.
you had sex with them, but you had a boyfriend that kind of kept you kind of stable, and it would have been worse if you didn't have a boyfriend. Is that what you're saying?
It feels like that.
Yeah.
It feels like that because when I wasn't having a boyfriend, I was misbehaving a lot more.
Yeah.
Drinking a lot more, having sex with people that I knew as friends, but I shouldn't have been having sex with them. Even as an atheist, you know, it just, or that's what I thought back then. Because I had this desire inside of me to be good and to be pure and to be honest. And instead I was dropping out of school and drinking and, oh, excuse me. Yeah, just partying, yeah. And then in this chaos, I wanted to keep up that image of being beautiful, being strong, being popular. And I wasn't able to because I was drinking so much and I was eating. Like when I was upset, I was binge eating. And so I really struggled with anorexia and bulimia after my brother died. I switched from one to another. Like if I binged eat, I became bulimic. If I got tired of being bulimic, then I would starve myself for weeks. Yeah. And that actually went on for many, many years. It started when I was 14, and I think it ended, well, we can talk about that later, because then I give away all my secrets.
So now you're 15, 16, you're partying a lot, you're sleeping around, or you have boyfriends. And then what switched into going into drugs? Because I know you did that for a while.
Well, we have to go back a little bit. Not far, but I actually tried to kill myself one night when I was in high school. I don't think I was...
What kind of age do you think?
I was only in grade 9. So I must have been like 15 and a half, 16. It was like a school dance, and I took a bunch of pills and drank rum. I don't think I really wanted to kill myself back then. I think I was just trying to be seen because I didn't want to die, because I told someone as soon as I got to the dance that I had done it, that I drank too much had too many pills and drank rum, and I just got really sick that night and threw up, and it never really went any farther. But after that, like, there was a lot of rumors about me because I was the girl like doing bad things at parties, and yeah, it just became very hard to be at the high school where my brother died because it was a school accident and everyone knew me, but they knew me for the wrong reasons. Yeah. It was like, oh, you're Darren's sister. Oh, you're Darren's sister. Oh, I'm so sorry for you. And so then I moved schools. Okay. I went over to a different high school to try to kind of I don't know, try something different. And yeah, I was able to get a little better there. I still drank a lot, but then I got a serious boyfriend, and yeah, still bulimic, still keeping that a secret from everyone. I
But then you said, like, I know your story quite well. So, because it didn't take long after your brother's accident until you moved out of the house and moved into someone else's house. How old were you then, you think?
I don't know. It's hard to say. At between 14 and 15,
Yeah.
like not right
So
away.
within a year after the accident?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
like maybe 6 months, 7 months. We were really struggling in the home. My mom was really struggling. They were struggling as a couple. And because of my bulimia and my mental health, the family counselor back then said that maybe it would be smart if I lived with another family for a bit, like a neighbor or a close family friend or family. But most of my family was still in England. I had an aunt and an uncle and 2 cousins, but they lived in Vancouver, which was an hour away. And then I would have to give up my whole life. So I moved in with my close friend's parents and her brother for a short period. But it didn't work out. I was only there for a couple months, and then they had to ask me to leave. It just put too much pressure on them. Me and my friend didn't really get along anymore. We had some teenage drama, and I wasn't kicked out of the house. They understood my situation. They felt sorry for me, but they had to take care of their daughter, and she didn't want me there anymore. She wanted me out. So then I moved in with another friend and her mother. Her mom was a single mom, but I quickly learned that she was an alcoholic, like a raging alcoholic. Like I would come home from school and we would find her like passed out in the bushes, like full of vomit. And yeah.
So, and now you are...
Grade 10, grade 11, I'm like 16, 17. I think when I was about 17, my parents rented an apartment, like about a 5-minute drive from my high school, so that I could live there. I tried in between this time to like stay with my parents. They were kind enough to try to make me a room in their new houses, but I don't know, we were just all struggling and spiraling in our own way, and it didn't work.
No.
And when I tried to communicate to them my needs, it just became like a fireball. It just, and I don't want to throw my parents under the bus, but they looked at me as the rebel and uncontrollable, and they weren't good at setting boundaries. I don't know, we didn't really get along. It just, my brother's death just shattered us. And the longer I lived away from them, the more I became me. And I wanted to live in the light. Like I wanted to live angry, or I wanted to live mad at them. I wanted to talk about, even though I was doing it in the wrong way by screaming and yelling and telling them they were horrible. And they just wanted to kind of like avoid it and run away from it. And we loved each other. I never felt unloved by my parents, but very much abandoned. Very much left alone.
And when did you first start using drugs? Do you know what time that was?
Well, I graduated high school and I moved to Vancouver to go to college, but my eating disorder is raging. And my boyfriend breaks up with me because I'm a mess. And I'm left there in Vancouver trying to go to college with this raging eating disorder. Like it's out of control. And I'm mentally now exhausted. And then I seriously try to kill myself. I choose to eat and throw up and then leave all the windows open. It's like January, February. It's not super cold, but it's cold. And I just wanted life. I just wanted to die. I didn't want a painful death. I just wanted it to float away. And I didn't show up to work. I don't know why my parents didn't come. I don't remember that part of the story. But they sent a neighbor girl to come and check up on me that I'd grown up with. Not really friends, but not friends, like neighbor friends. And I didn't know it, but she was Mormon. And she just sat there for hours talking me out, just talking me out and promising to be my friend. And she just stayed. I was there hours. Like, I don't know how many hours. I was there hours. Wow. And then I agreed. I got out and I agreed with her. And then we got my parents involved and they booked me into the mental clinic in the hospital. Because back then, like an eating disorder clinic had like a 3-year waiting list. So I was just put like in the mental institution or psych ward in the hospital. And that was crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
tell me a little bit about that.
Oh no, I'm a young girl. I'm only like 19 and I'm stuck in this psychiatric ward with everything. Not that everyone doesn't deserve help. I'm 19 and like there was this flasher dude. I mean, he must have been like 45 or something. And he would go around from room to room flashing people. And then there was this other lady who went around stealing cigarette butts. And then there was this other guy that was screaming and just banging his head. And then there was another lady there that had an eating disorder as well. And she was in her late 40s and had a family. And back then, they just drugged you. Yeah. They just gave you pills. They tried to make sure I ate. And I lived there for 3 months and got out on good behavior. Yeah.
But you met someone there?
The lady who had the eating disorder, she had a son. And he invited me to a party. So I went to a party on like one of my weekends where I was allowed to go home for the weekend. And I met this guy there. And he was so kind and loving and just I'd never had a man he was basically a boy because, he's only 19. But I'd never met anyone before that adored me or made me feel adored. And yeah. And then he's the one who convinced me to smoke marijuana for my first time, him and my friend that I met in the psycho ward. And
had she never smoked marijuana before?
My friend?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure my friend did. I don't know, really.
Yeah.
Like, her mom sold cocaine, but I don't really know her. Like, she drank a lot, but I think because the drugs were in her family, she didn't do it a lot.
No.
But I started dating this guy, and the first time I did drugs, I didn't really like it. The second time, I didn't really like it, and then I liked it, and then actually, I auditioned to be a BC Lions cheerleader for the CFL, and I became that.
That's Canadian Football League.
Yeah.
American football.
Yes.
For those who don't know.
Yeah, in Canada. So it was huge. Well, it was huge for me to break into the dance world that way. But unfortunately, I wasn't healthy, and I was still struggling with my eating disorder and now doing marijuana. And now my boyfriend is becoming more controlling and more demanding. And I wasn't able to make it to practices on time. And if we had a fight, he would make me feel guilty for wanting to go. And I didn't really quit the BC Lions. I didn't really get fired. It was more like a conversation with the manager that you're not healthy enough to be here. And I was angry and I was disappointed and I disagreed. But now looking back, I'm very aware that I was unhealthy. I was able to handle the dance part, but not the commitment because my life was spiraling. Yeah. And then my boyfriend obviously convinced me to try hash and then acid and mescaline and angel dust. And yeah, just kind of spiraled out of control. And he became more verbally abusive and more controlling, and I became more timid and more isolated from my family, more isolated from my friends. I'm doing more drugs, feeling more shame, more guilt, and when you start to do a lot of hard drugs, you start to do things while you're on drugs that are shameful. Yeah. with your boyfriend, with people around you. And he was cheating on me. I didn't know that. But I found out later that he had cheated on me, both with just a girl and with my best friend at that time. But I found out he was cheating on me when I was pregnant with his child, like newly pregnant, like, I don't know, very.
But you also had some crazy experiences with your brother, and you said Jesus on those drug trips.
Well, I'm not a Christian, right? I'm not a Christian. I don't think I was ever atheist. I just never really, when I went to like a Christian camp or a church as a child, I was always like, oh, Jesus, like, like altar call. Oh, yeah, I believe, because you get that hunger, you get that kind of like heart pump. And and then I would just go back to my normal life. And, so I never kind of denounced God, but I never really connected to God. Yeah. And I had 2 specific really bad trips. At one time, like, the guys thought it would be fun to like lock us all like in a big semi truck on acid. And I actually had a vision of seeing my brother then. And he said that if I was going to continue down this path, that I would end up in hell. And I just took it as like a bad trip, but it rattled me. Not just because I saw him, but because it challenged me on what I believed. Yeah. It awakened something in my soul or spirit to want to know answers. And I'm struggling now, right? Now I'm doing drugs. I'm living with, now I know my boyfriend's a drug dealer. Okay. My life has fallen. Like, I can't hold a job, and my boyfriend's cheat. Like, it's just a bad life now, bad cycle. I'm just really hard relationship with my parents. I'm isolated from my friends. So in those moments, the morning I would wake up, even if it was real or not real, it made me contemplate, maybe regret my decisions, wonder what the real answers were. Yeah. And I was really good at crying out for my brother in the beginning. Like, I didn't really cry out to God. I was more like, Darren, what would you want me to do? And, Darren, I fail you. And
yeah, but also like looking back now, you have said to me many times that you felt like Darren had a very close relationship to God.
He went to church with his best friend. Well, he had 2.
Darren is your late brother.
Yes. Yeah. And he had 2 friends that their families were very on fire for God, very committed, very open about their faith. And so Darren was a Christian. Like, he stood for his faith. I mean, he has poems and things that he wrote about Jesus. And I'm waiting for that day. Like, he had this very deep relationship with him, with God.
Yeah. So then you had this bad trip and you saw Darren.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that if you continue on this road, you're going to end up in hell.
Yeah.
And then you had another trip.
Yeah, I'm at a rave, and it was really bad rave. Like, I don't know what raves are like in this generation, but there was just some like really
crazy stuff.
Really bad, like just lots of nudity, just gross, just really bad. And even though I'm high, I'm very aware that I don't really want to be here. Yeah. That was the problem with me. I always did drugs, but I didn't really want to be there. Yeah. But I have this really bad trip on angel dust. I pass out going out of the rave. I don't know if you want to call it an overdose, because I didn't need Narcan or anything to be like awakened, but I'm gone for a bit. And in that moment, I don't know where I am. I called it hell. Yeah. And then this time I meet Jesus. And in that moment, he says to me that if you continue down this way, this is where you're going to end up. And then I awaken. And again, I don't know. Of course I thought about it, but I'm stuck in this abusive relationship. Now it's physically abusive. It started very light, pulling hair, pushing, grabbing the wrist, locking me in the bathroom. Yeah. And he was raised in an abusive home. His father was abusive and his family were all into drugs. So when I was telling him, like, don't abuse me, don't hit me, he'd be like, I'm not hitting you. I'm not abusing you. You should have seen my dad. So it was like really brainwashing, really gaslighting, really. So, yeah.
Wow. You have such a different upbringing than me. Okay, so now you're in. This was before you got pregnant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got pregnant at around 20?
20. I got pregnant and our relationship was already a mess.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was a mess. There were affairs, not on my part, but on his part. And I had been trying to leave him and go back and leave him and go back. But now I'm pregnant, trying to make a go of it and trying to quit drugs, cold turkey, trying to stop being bulimic, cold turkey. Like I'm still suffering with all of these things, right?
Because you had this inner kind of, well, now I'm pregnant, I need to take care of my child.
Yeah, and like I said, like before my brother died, I was raised in this home that was kind of normal, regular. And I wanted that for this child. And I was a mess. My life was a mess. It was dangerous. It was unsafe. I can't say I quit drugs immediately, but almost.
You stopped the heavy drugs.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But the marijuana took a little time during the pregnancy, but I barely ever smoked drugs during my pregnancy. Like maybe once or twice or 3 times the whole 9 months. And yeah. And drugs aren't legal. Like marijuana is legal now in Canada. So I'm probably talking over some people's heads, but back then it wasn't ever, I was doing something that was against the law, and forbidden and done in secrecy and privately. So, and I stopped throwing up instantly too, which was hard, like my whole life. But I don't know, I had this inner drive and just this desire. Like I have a very special relationship with my oldest son because I always called him my angel sent from heaven,
Yeah, because he gave you the final kind of wake up call. And you started to change your life from that day on.
I started to fight for myself, to fight for him. Yeah. So, and then like when he's 6 weeks old, he gets diagnosed with RSV. It's not really like a serious virus. It's one of those harder viruses. But unfortunately, he was only about 6 weeks old.
But, hang on to that thought. But
okay.
You gotten pregnant. You stopped the heavy drugs. You are real down on the marijuana. You tried to stop your eating disorder or stop throwing up as bulimia. So how was the rest of your pregnancy? Did you have any experiences there? What was it more like? Did you feel like you were kind of led to something or like?
No, not during my pregnancy. Just trying to survive.
But it was a hard pregnancy, or like the circumstance was still hard.
The circumstances were hard. I found out he was cheating on me
during the pregnancy.
During the pregnancy with my best friend, and that was quite early because it caused me to bleed due to the stress. So I had to go to the hospital. So. But I chose to stay. He'd been lying. Now if I were to speak about him, I don't know how many people he cheated on me with. I wouldn't know anything about him because now I'm mature enough and old enough to understand that somebody that would treat me that way and do all of those things in secret, his whole life was just not what I believed it to be.
No.
So, and then the abuse started to become more obvious. Because I wasn't doing drugs. I wouldn't go to the parties with him. I was trying to settle down. I was trying to become like a mom and bake cookies. And he would do these demanding things, like show up with all these guys and they'd get stoned in the house, and he'd want me to bake cookies, and I'd bake cookies, and then he would be mad because they weren't good at, like, it just, everything was escalating in our relationship fast. We were engaged to be married. He proposed, I think, like, I don't know, about a month before our son was born. Yeah.
And then it's 6 weeks after, and he gets RSV.
Yeah, and Talon is put in the hospital, and
That's our son's name.
Our son's name, now you adopted him. He's 31. He was super sick. I mean, RSV, he was only 6 weeks old. It's better if you get it after 3 months. It's not better, but it's not as life-threatening. And I don't remember what the fight it was about, but Sean became a total, just a horrible man. And he took off, and he stole my car. So I didn't even have access to get to the apartment and back to the hospital. And that's when I really was like, oh gosh, my life has to change. And the nurse, when I was leaving the hospital, because I stayed there the whole time, she said to me, like, I've met a lot of single moms here, but I need to let you know that you deserve better than that man. Yeah. You're a good mom. You're a great mom. And it awoke something in me. Not a lot, but enough to be like, somebody sees me. Maybe it's true. And then Sean still lived at home for a bit, but he got very violent one night. And the neighbors heard. And they called the cops. So Sean had to leave. And the neighbor lady came and sat with me at like 3:00 in the morning. And she talked about her abuse. And she was just very clear, like, this is abuse. You're being abused. You need to get out of this. And then she told me of this clinic in Abbotsford for women to go to, more like a library kind of / living room place you could go. I remember going there the first time and thinking, I'm not really abused, but I should maybe go in. No, I'm not abused. No, maybe I should go in. No, I'm not abused. And then I walked in, and I just remember being asked if I should have tea. And it was like a living room library kind of setting. And the lady just started talking, and I just kept showing up after a while. And then I started to get tools, started to understand what abuse was like, the signs, the tools to leave. And so I would say that by time Talon is 6 months old, we're no longer living together.
Okay. And then there's something that happens because you end up in church one day.
Yeah.
What's the pre-story of that?
Oh, there's so many.
How did you end up in church?
Well, first there's this lady. She's the janitor of the apartment, and she's a single mom with 2 girls. And every time I walked in, she was always like, when she was vacuuming and she saw me with my son, she would always be like, oh, you look so beautiful today, and you're such a good mom. And she would always say those things to me, and it lifted my spirits. And then one day she told me I went over to her house. She invited me for coffee, and she said oh, Tanya, all good men are in church. You should go to church. You can go to church with me. And then there was the nurse. Oh, and one other thing. I just want to say one other thing. The last time Sean abused me, the police came. It was a really bad situation. It got out of control. My dad showed up. He refused to give my son. It was just a really bad situation. And that time, the police officer, after everyone left, went to his car and came back with a book called Tough Love by James Dobson. Yeah. And he's like, I'm not really supposed to give this to you, but You deserve better. So I had all these like small moments, you know, where I felt met, or I felt love, or I felt compassion.
What I find interesting with those kind of stories, or your story here, is that because a lot of times we think that, well, I can't do much. And these people didn't do much, but it was the lady that said that you were worth more. It was the policeman that gave you the book. It was the neighbor that sat outside your door for 4 hours. It's like they helped you in a way that I think that when they come to heaven, they're going to be rewarded for that, because they really helped you tremendously. But they probably didn't feel like a lot back then, because it was just a short period of time and it was a little thing they did. But we don't understand how big those things have an impact on us or others.
Yeah, it talks about that in the Bible, like how you never know, like if there's an angel sitting with you, or like when you deserted me.
Yeah.
You know, and he's not talking about himself. He's talking about when, I don't know, somebody was in prison or somebody was starving and we just didn't choose to love them.
Matthew 25, it talks about like you who came to visit me, or you who came to visit me when I was in prison. You gave me food when I was hungry. And then the people say like, when did we visit you? Whatever you did to my least, you did to me. And that's what they did to you. Like you were one of God's least at that time, and they really blessed you, ministered to you.
Yeah. So
you get that book from your policeman, and then girls said that all the good men are in church.
Yeah. And I'm being an okay mom now. Yeah. Like I'm working full time and trying to pay away, and you know, just I'm a regular 20-year-old. You know, my parents were good babysitters, so
you're 21 now, by the way.
Yeah, I'm 21. So I still want to be a normal 21-year-old and go out to the disco and dance and drink and yeah. But obviously my son is being babysat, and one night I decide, well, more than one night, but I am out one night and I get really drunk. And I actually get into a bar fight. Like I'm quite stubborn. Like I
No, really.
I'm very confident in some areas, and I was being pushed on the dance floor, so I pushed back, and then they pushed me back, and I probably said something very inappropriate and said like, "Get off me! Like you're being this." I really nasty words, but she had like 3 or 4 friends, so they all like ganged up on me, and and we all got kicked out of the bar. So I wake up the next morning and I have a black eye and a scratch, and I stink like hard alcohol. Like, and I look at my son and I'm like, this is not the kind of mother I want to be.
No.
And I get this idea that I'm going to church because that's where all the good men are.
It's a great motive for going to church.
Oh.
Whatever brings you in.
Whatever brings you in, right? And I'm hungover, and I stink. Like you can't even brush it out of my mouth, and I'm got this black eye, and so I decide to get as sexy as I can to go to church, a mini skirt and like a tank top, because I'm going to get myself a husband. I'm dressing up as if I'm going to a nightclub to a church.
Yeah.
And
can't imagine.
I remember going to this church in Northview. Like it still has such a warm place in my heart because I went there, and there you could put your child in daycare while you went to church. And so I'm there alone, and the worship starts and I'm just weeping. I'm just feeling touched, not really understanding why. And the pastor who preached that day, Vern, his daughter had actually just come home with her child. Yeah. She had gotten involved with a gang member in California. and she was on the stage talking about her testimony. But Vern, he was also talking about the testimony of his walk through that and the church's walk through that and how they all, how much God forgives.
So she had gotten into a relationship with a gangbanger in California, and she had gotten
I
pregnant.
wouldn't want to say, I don't really remember the story that well that I would want to call him a gangbanger, but he was not a good guy either.
No, and she had gotten pregnant, and she
had come home. Her daughter's about a year older than Talon. So, but she's more in the, she's found some healing and restoration. But it was Vern's testimony about how God can forgive everything. Yeah. And how he can heal everything. And no matter what you've done, whether it's in an affair, adultery, bankruptcy, abuse, I don't know. He didn't say drugs, but, and I felt it. I didn't get saved that day. I didn't become a Christian that day. But this lady came up to me, Karina, and she asked to be my friend, and she became my friend. She really became a friend. She showed up when I was sick. She showed up when I needed a babysitter. We went to church together. She showed me how to have fun without drinking. Yeah. She laughed at everything, and she just adored me and adored my son. And I got into an amazing cell group who wasn't religious. No. They just loved on me.
Greg and Becky.
And they just gave me grace and love. When my life was spinning, they had an open door. Yeah. It could be midnight, and I could phone, and I could be crying. And yeah, I'm still friends with them. I'm 52. And I met them when I was 21, and I can still reach out to them when my life is spinning and I'm crying. And I started in a youth group with the pastor, Dave Curry. Shout out to Doing Family Right.
Yes.
In Abbotsford. Dave Curry, he's
amazing.
He's amazing. He walks the walk. He's highly educated in family counseling, but he's also a man of integrity and love for God, and
a man with a heart.
Yeah. And I was lucky to get under his leadership at this youth, Roaring 20s. And 6 months later, after I started going to the church, I think it was December 5th, I became a Christian. Yeah. But I wasn't oh, Lord Jesus, if I could be a Christian, oh. I was more if you effing exist, you better show up, because I'll give my life to you, but you better prove that you exist. Yeah. I wasn't holy yet. I'm still not very holy, but, there's a Bible verse I love, and it's those who are forgiven much, love much. Yeah. And not everyone has always agreed with maybe my choices or how I walk my walk with God. But there's one thing that I think everyone can say about me, or should say about me, is that I love wide and I love deep, and I go out of my way not to judge. We all need God. We all need to understand that unconditional grace and forgiveness and hope. And it doesn't matter if it's a prostitute, or it's a newly divorced person, or it's a man stuck in pornography, or it's a family that's lost a child, or it's, I don't know, we all long for that. And I just want to show up that way.
Okay, so now you become a Christian. And then, but you ask God, you effing show me that you exist. Did you feel like there was, that he showed you that?
Yeah. It wasn't poof, magic. Sometimes we use God like Santa, or we use him Like, oh, Lord Jesus, I need this degree, or, oh, Lord Jesus, I want this house. And, we use them like a bank. But it was more so that he did put me in the right cell group.
Yeah.
He did. I just became blessed in a way that was unnatural.
Yeah.
And when I prayed for him to meet me, he met me. And I have numerous stories. Like, I was in Nicaragua on a missions trip for my very first time, but it was even a miracle getting there. Like, my own parents didn't want me to go.
And was Talon about 3 then? So 3 years?
He's about 2 years old.
Okay. So you became a Christian maybe like when Talon was about 1? 9 months old?
Yeah, about a month, about a year.
Yeah. So this is a year after you become a Christian. About that. And then your cell group leader, Greg and Becky, they were leading that trip, weren't they?
Yeah, but I don't start the cell group with them until after. So that's actually where I meet them.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But the point of this, in Nicaragua, I felt very lonely and abandoned, and felt like because I was judged.
Yeah.
Like, I go to church.
And even with the people that loved you,
Even the people who loved me kept telling me, like, well, don't like that man. He would never date a single mom.
Yeah.
Or, oh, lower your expectations, like you are a single mom. Yet the preaching is telling me that I'm forgiven.
Yeah.
And that I'm a child of God. I'm a daughter. I'm his bride. But people, even super close to me, who are strong Christians, are telling me that I should, like, not everyone, but some people. And so I'm sad on this outreach. And the pastor notices it, that's in Nicaragua. And he comes up to me out of the blue, and he's like, you're a beautiful young woman, and God is going to bless you with an amazing father for your son.
Was that Greg?
No, this is the pastor in Nicaragua who was there leading us the whole 3 weeks there.
Yeah.
So he didn't know my story.
No.
And he didn't know what I was thinking about that moment. But that's exactly what I was thinking about in that moment.
Yeah.
So then I decide to go for a walk on the beach in Nicaragua. And I'm like, Lord Jesus, like, show me a sign that this is true, what the pastor. Let me believe this in my own heart. Yeah. And I look down, and I love to get shells from different countries. And I pick up this shell, and it has a heart on it. Yeah. The way that it's been decorated, like, not decorated, but the way it's been created and changed through the water and sand, it literally had a heart on it. I mean, other people could say that was just silly or a coincidence, but for me, it was like just too many things to be, Huh. And then there was another missionary trip that I was going to go on, and I had promised my cell group, and I'd promised my best friend that I would never kind of give up my life or my choices for a man again, especially before marriage. Yeah. I wouldn't follow a crush. Yeah. And I was going to go on my DTS.
Yeah, discipleship trains you through YWAM or Youth with Mission.
With my son. So we were going together, and I had applied for Colorado and Montana. And I really wanted to go to Montana, but there was this boy here that I had a crush on that I'd known since high school. And I was like, do I want to go there? Well, so I had mixed emotions. And Colorado had told me I would get in, and I had to give Colorado the next day my answer, because it was the cutoff date to say yes or no. And my non-Christian friend is like, but Tanya, you really wanted to go to Montana. And I'm like, yeah, but I have a crush there, and it's a lot better to just say no anyways, even if it is where I would prefer to go. It's probably better to choose Colorado. It's safer for me. Yeah. But she's like, but you've always talked about Montana. And I was like, yeah, but it's safer to go to Colorado. And she's like, well, don't you believe in God? Why don't you ask God what you want, what he wants?
That comes from your non-Christian
My
friend.
non-Christian friend. Yeah. So that night I pray to God, and I'm like, oh, Lord, like, if you want me to go to Montana, you're going to have to either give me a crazy dream or wake me up or like meet me in person because I'm going to go to Colorado.
Yeah.
So I go to bed thinking I'm going to Colorado. Well, Montana's a couple hours ahead of us. I don't know how many hours. And I get a phone call. I'm woken like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And it's Montana saying, we got a Bible verse for you. And we believe that you're meant to come to our YWAM base. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, how do you say no to that?
No. Okay. So, and then you go to YWAM in Montana. And there you meet a dance crew. So, because you used to dance at a really, really high level,
Yes.
non-professional, but like for
Yeah,
kid
we were
and
one of the
youth.
best studios in all of British Columbia.
And then you had kind of kept that going a little bit after you became an adult.
Well, I started teaching.
Yeah.
I started teaching as a single mom.
But you didn't really perform a lot.
No, I didn't perform a lot. I was just teaching.
And then you came to Montana, and there they had a dance crew. Tell me a little bit about your details and how you got in contact with dance crew and stuff.
Well, I didn't really get in contact with the crew, but this guy that I was crushing on, he knew I was a dancer and he knew my ability. So he shared my abilities with the staff on YWAM.
Yeah.
So then they asked me to dance for my DTS. But this other crew was preparing to travel for a year, team extreme, like youth.
Impact World Tour.
Yeah. And I don't know if one of the leaders told them how good I was or if they just saw me practicing one day. But then I was invited to join that team.
Yeah.
So when I did my discipleship training school, I left a couple weeks early to join this Impact World Tour.
You had left a couple of weeks early on your outreach.
Outreach to go to India. Yeah.
So you ended up in India with Impact World Tour and your DTS.
With my son.
Yeah.
We were there about 2.5 months. Yeah. And then on that trip, I was invited by the tour to come to their next country. And that was Norway. And I said, I can't afford it. Like, it's just not possible. I need to get home. And they actually offered to pay both for my son and me to come. And that's amazing. Like, as a single mom I mean, I'm still just like getting out of feeling abused. And, you know, I've been sober a couple years and yeah. So I came to Norway and then my son fell in love with a guy called Tanya Winsnes.
Okay, we have to tell that story a little bit. I think we should do our story up until we get married, and then we'll do like kind of the marriage story later. But I remember meeting you coming off it was a Grimerud, like the main Y1 base in Norway. And you had traveled from the US and you came on a bus. And I remember you walking in the door at Grimerud. And you were like, I was 20.
And I'm 26.
Well, I was you had just turned 26 and I was about to turn 21.
So you're only 20.
Yeah. So, and I see you walking in there and you had hoodie on. And I still remember that to this day. And then the first night we were gonna have a gathering. I didn't, and back then I was a little shy. I was like, I was not that. I was like, when I got to know people, I could be the life of the party. But before I got to know people, I was a little shy, like standing a little bit back in the corner. And then we had a gathering up in the living room upstairs at Grimerud. And the first night, I don't know what happened, but Talon, he was 4 or 5 then.
He's 5 because he had his birthday in India.
He is 5. So he comes and sits on my lap, and I had a hoodie, and I looked quite.
And I was like, I remember whispering, because you were like on the other side of the circle. I remember whispering, like, is it okay he sits on you?
Yeah.
Because I was nervous that like you didn't know how to say no, and I didn't want you to be uncomfortable, but you were like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. And then he sat on me, and I think he fell asleep on my lap, actually.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. And that was the first night I ever met Talon. And then, like, I'm just 20, you're 26.
So we didn't.
I had my 21st birthday there.
Yeah, in McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's. And we didn't really connect. We were kind of in the same group, and
We would say hi to each other, but there were a couple times when we sat together, we chatted, but just like normal people.
yeah, and I was not the same level dancer as you. So I had just been lucky to get into the dance team. And
But the point of that is that I did more choreography than you. So I was maybe in like, for example, 10 numbers and you were in 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
So then our son now, Talon, started to hang out with you. And the other boys, but he seemed to really enjoy being with you.
But also before that, before you came to Norway, you and Talon had a nightly prayer session.
Yeah, and we'd always pray for a dad.
Yeah.
For him and a good husband for me.
And he was also praying for a dad.
He was also praying for a dad.
Yeah, and then we meet in Norway, and we are on the same dance team, and I think it's still at Grimmerud. So we've been there probably a week, and Talon brings me to you.
No. This is a lot later.
Is it a lot later?
A lot later. It's like almost like a week or 5 days
before it's finished.
Yeah. So we're somewhere. I even remember it. Like I can picture the round tables. We're not even eating breakfast at the same place. It's probably in the bottom of a church.
Okay. Yeah.
And then Talon's like, "Oh, you got to come and meet my friend Hans Jakob." And I just played along. So he brings me over to you. And then he says like, "Oh, Tanya, Mom, meet my good friend Hans Jakob." And then I play along. "Oh, hi, Hans Jakob." And then Talon says, "Mom, can you marry him now?" And then I was so embarrassed. So I was just like, oh, he couldn't handle me. And then you stood up and you were like, "I could handle you."
Oh, how little did I know.
I was thinking, this guy does not know me.
No.
But it was cute. Like, because I felt in the past that some guys just didn't even want to become friends with me because they thought that I would want them to be my boyfriend or my husband.
That did not cross my mind. I was 21, you were 26. I had never lived out of my house. Well, I'd gone to a DTS
No, but I was embarrassed.
I was like, yeah, I understand that, but for me it was not like.
Yeah. And I didn't want you to think I was interested in you at all.
No.
So, but it was cute and we laughed. And then after that, we were like, "Oh, can we sit together?" And we flirted a little bit with each other. We would be silly to not admit, but we didn't have feelings for each other, but
it was interest, but
not an interest to date. It was just, we enjoyed each other's company near the end, but we only have like 4 or 5 days left of the tour. And then the last day we stayed up all night with the other people in a church praying and chatting about everything. And then we sat on the bus all the way to the airport, and you asked me to give you my email, and I said, "No, if you want to contact me, you can email."
No, I asked you if you wanted my email.
Yeah, and I said, "No, I'm so tired of emailing people and they don't email back, but you can have my email, and if you want to keep being friends, then email me." And then when I got home, the email was already there, and then we chatted for 15 months, little bit by little bit, and then it got more and more, and we were friends, and then we were special friends, and then I came to visit you in April, and you asked me to be your girlfriend, and then you asked me to bring my son to Norway in the summer to meet your family. Then you proposed, and then you came in October to meet my parents. So we got married, New Year's Eve, and that
25 years ago.
Yeah. It wasn't an easy road, but.
No.
we have something to celebrate this
Yeah.
year.
And it's not that you came to Jesus and everything became easy, but you see that after we got married, we have 5 kids now. Talon is a father, so we have become grandparents. And Talon has been, I've never felt like Talon was not my son. Like ever since we got married, I felt like Talon was my son. And he was actually the one that brought us together. And you see that God has used your situation to, like, of course, like the Bible talks about that too. It's not, we shouldn't get divorced, we shouldn't have sex outside marriage. But you see that he has changed that and turning around to become one of the biggest blessings in our lives. And now we have four kids after Talon, and one is married, and they're all loving each other, and they all like to spend time with each other. So we're so blessed with having the family. And it was the small steps that you took and that I took that God brought us together. And it's crazy to think about, like, for example, like that thing that if you wanted to go to Colorado instead of Montana, we would have never met. And it's just amazing. So you wanted to give a conclusion a little bit about what's
just like a little focus. One of the things I wanted to say is that we should never give up on people.
No.
You know, we should always be willing, both as a Christian or to see the beauty in the individual.
Yeah.
Instead of sometimes always seeing the weakness or the chaos. And I also think it's very important. This is what I think. Like, these are what I've learned through my experience, is that I think that we are a little too quick to judge. You know, we write people off, or we assume things of people. And I see that Christians do that a lot.
And I do that. I see it myself. So easy to do.
You know, but like what we see, both me and you, we've agreed on before, is like if you look at John the Baptist and you look at King David and you look at Rahab and you look at all Tamar and you look at all Queen Esther, all of them have their weaknesses, and all of them had this great thing that they did in life to serve other people, or to heal other people, or to heal a nation. Or it just reveals to us our own need to be forgiven, and it shows us how deep God can forgive. But if you put all those people in the same room, it might be hard for them to understand each other.
Yeah, because we all see God through our experiences,
our culture,
and also our calling. And I, like, as I said, like with John the Baptist, like in his mind, to be totally devoted to God means that you're living in poverty, you're eating locusts, you're out in the desert, and if you really want to live fully for God, you have to give up everything. King Solomon, well, if you live truly for God, you're going to be blessed and you're going to be the richest man in the world. So it's so easy for us to judge others from our perspective. And I think that a lot of the view that we have from God meets me personally. He meets you personally. And he shows you parts of himself that he may not show me. And it's so to have that humility to, okay, you have your walk with God, I have my walk with God. And as long as we truly have a motivation to seek God and to understand him, we have to learn how to show each other more grace.
Yes, and the other thing I would like to say is that it's that need to be kind of like successful, or that need to be seen, or okay, I'm a good Christian because I did this. I tithed. I'm a good person because I didn't do this. But it's actually just walking the journey and walking the day and actually just being gracious in those moments, to be open to what is before you, you know? Because a lot of times we're like, oh, I need to serve. Oh, I need to be in the choir. Oh, I'm not saying those things are wrong. I did those things. I went on missions trips. I served, and I built cell groups, and I built things. But the people's lives that I've seen, that I've impacted, and that I know that they would be willing to sit here on the podcast and say that I helped change their life, or steer it, or help them heal, they would say that it was my kindness and my love and my honesty.
Yeah. Amen.
That's what they would say. Not, well, she did this great dance school and they had 650 students and they served the Lord. No, they would say that I cared. I actually opened up my heart and just was honest.
Amen. Well, with that, let's pray for the people here. Lord Jesus, I just pray that this will be a podcast that can bring hope, and I can bring healing to the people listening. Lord, I pray that you will let each one listening to this understand that they're loved, that your grace is new every morning, and that you are standing there with open arms. So, Lord, I pray that you will raise up the people, raise up your church to become everything that you called us to be, and that you will help us to see, each of us to see other people as you see them, Lord, with love, that they're all created in your image, and help us to see that. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. And if you like the podcast and you found it helpful and uplifting, please subscribe and please share it. So we'll be doing this a lot in the years to come, and months and years to come. So bless you guys. Take care.